I thought I was totally going to screw this up.
No, look, it all worked out.
Look, it all worked out. My face is in the screen. I'm good.
You're good. That's awesome. That's awesome.
How are you today?
Good. We're so excited you're here. You are our second Throwback Thursday lunchtime conversation. So,
I know, but I feel Alicia's a tough act to follow.
Well, no, that's not true. That's not true. I think that, you know what? I think this is amazing. We have grown the community since you were first on. So to have this opportunity to chat with you again, we're so grateful. So thank you.
Thank you for having me back on, because I think the first time I was on was like a complete bust. So thank you for having me back on.
Well, this is your encore. So why don't we kick it off, Madi, and why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I am Madi Spina. I am an insurance healthcare executive. I specialize in medical malpractice claims.
Okay, and how long have you been in the insurance industry?
The older I get, the lower the number. So I'm going to say 25 plus years.
Okay, that sounds good.
25 plus years I've been in this industry.
That sounds good. So let me ask you something, because we have spoken to so many people across so many industries, and specifically in your industry, how have you been affected by the global pandemic?
So, you know that we insure healthcare providers. We provide professional liability to hospitals, long-term care facilities, physicians, surgery centers, and a host of other healthcare products. And I think the way our industry has been affected the most is, think about these healthcare providers that have their workers out there on the front lines every single day, right? And so many lives being lost. And this is a horrific virus. And they sacrifice every day. And then you have the greedy plaintiffs' attorneys trying to capitalize off of this pandemic, right? So while everyone is saying goodbye to their loved ones, you have the greedy lawyers thinking, this is time for litigation. They didn't do what they were supposed to do. So while we haven't seen a rise in lawsuits due to the pandemic, our insureds naturally have gotten very nervous. So anytime they've had a patient die or a resident contract COVID, it's like they flood us with paper. And so part of our process has been trying to educate the insureds and tell them, okay, let's just take a pause. Let's walk you through this process. And they've been very fortunate that a lot of the states have enacted these immunity laws that are going to be able to really protect them. So when and if a lawsuit is filed, the plaintiff's attorney is going to have a huge hurdle to overcome in pursuing those lawsuits. So we get a lot of calls from insureds that are nervous. I've been sued, now what? So walking them through that process, while we do it every day during this pandemic, it has been eye-opening because they care so much for the patients and they're trying to do the best job that they can. And then when they get hit with the lawsuit, it's nerve-wracking to them.
Yeah.
And it's upsetting to them because they did everything they could.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way we've been affected in our business with this pandemic.
Got it. And we have someone from our audience, Darlene, who says, hi, Madi.
Hello, Darlene.
Yeah, and I also want to point out that I also think Maritza is on. So,
hello, Maritza.
Giving a shout out to those, who were with us from the beginning. So thanks again for joining.
Thank you. So
Madi, you have, when you think back over your 25 plus year career, what would you say are what's so different today than when you started off in the industry?
So I think one of the biggest things with this pandemic, right, is when I started out my career in New York, and I worked in an office. And for my area of expertise, it's typically nurses and attorneys that are working these desks. I was a young professional out of college. I loved healthcare claims. So I was able to be surrounded by all these really highly technical claims people, right? And I feel that all of my training has been from all of these people. I think one of the hardest things today for young professionals is, number one, not a lot of companies are willing to take a chance on young professionals in my industry because it's so specialized. You're dealing with catastrophic injuries and they're thinking, no, we really need highly technical people. But I had someone take a chance on me when I started out my career, right? So I always said, when and if I become a leader, part of what I am charged with is really paying it forward, right? Giving people that don't have nursing degrees, don't have law degrees, an opportunity to really learn this business. Now, given the pandemic, right, that's a little bit more challenging because while I can hire someone to work remotely, and we have, and we're starting to teach them and train them on what it takes to handle a malpractice claim, part of that experience is the energy in the office. You know, when you feel your teammates are handling a case and, you know, they turn around and they're talking about it and, you know, they want to kick it around and everyone is so invested, not only in their cases, but also their colleagues. So I feel like this pandemic is kind of cheating our young professionals from that, right? Because it's hard enough for them to get a start in this business.
Yeah.
So it's going to be that much harder if they're in a remote environment. You know, for us, we're a small, nimble company. When the pandemic hit, we got boots on the ground within a week. Customer service didn't suffer for our internal or external customers. So we're able to keep operating kind of at that speed. But I think the young professionals really are the ones that are going to be most affected in the workplace, those looking to get into healthcare claims.
Got it. And as you look ahead, you know, beyond 2020 and as we look ahead to 2021, what do you think companies are going to need to do to have that work in office versus working remote balance?
Well, listen, I think we're struggling with it today, right? I think that not everybody is intended to be a telecommuter, right? A lot of people think they can work at home, but it takes a great deal of discipline to work at home, right? You have to have your own private space. You have to get focused. You have to kind of get into that work mentality, right? You can't be distracted. No laundry, you know, people ringing the bell. No, you have to get into work mode. So I think one of the biggest challenges for companies to balance between office and remote working is to really do as much as you can with your remote workers in terms of anytime you have to have a conversation with them, video call them so you can have kind of that personal interaction.
Yeah.
I tell everyone on my team, have your team meetings by Zoom, get everybody on the call. So I think it makes people feel a little bit more connected versus disconnected, right? So people like myself who have been telecommuters for most of my career, this to me is normal, right? Although I do enjoy being in the office. I'm back in the office. I love it. I love that kind of energy. But I think that's going to be the hardest part as we navigate this process. And for me, personally, on my team, one of my challenges is going to be to try to infuse that energy that they're going to be missing in an office so they can continue to grow, right? Because we don't want people to become stagnant in their careers because of this pandemic.
Right. And how, as a leader of the group, how do you keep them motivated, specifically, you know, on specifically for those that aren't equipped to be telecommuters and to work from home, how do you, stay one step ahead of them to put, identify their needs and say, okay, I'm gonna do this, and this because this is gonna help the team?
So like I said, I do a lot of video conferencing with my team. So I can, very early on, from when we sent people home, I was on video conferences with everyone on the team, right? Because this pandemic affects people different ways, right? So I was able to identify very early on, and to this day can identify when someone is struggling.
Yeah.
Right? So what we try to do is help them through that process, right? Let's kind of talk about what obstacles you're dealing with day to day. Like a lot of the people on my team have the issue with their kids with virtual learning. So let's kind of talk about that. And we did a lot of talking about that before the school system actually started, right? We talked about, we want you to have balance. The work has to get done, right? But maybe you have to step away for 2 hours to do virtual learning with your kids. So when they go to bed, you pick up, that time to finish up work. We've been extremely flexible with people who have children at home, are dealing with elderly parents, in terms of if we're requesting that people be on a call and they can't be on a call for some reason. So what we try to do is kind of alleviate that stress that they're feeling.
Yeah.
You know how it is. You're home dealing with kids, and all of a sudden you get a meeting invite and you're like, how am I going to do this? So I think that just reinforcing that message to the team that we do have some flexibility and we're giving stuff to you. So in return, give me that time back in the evening if you have a report due. So I think it's been working out really well. I would be lying if I said I wasn't concerned about some of the people working at home, only because I feel, they're missing out on some of the energies in the office. For some, there's too many distractions. So it's kind of working with them to kind of bring them back into the fold.
Yeah.
So but I do try to do a lot of video conferencing to kind of infuse that energy. Like, okay, we're still working. We're still part of the team. Our company is only 4 years old.
Right.
So to continue to infuse that energy, video conferencing has been key for us.
Yeah. And we have a comment from SLG Impact that says, sounds like your empathy really helps you lead with awareness, which is awesome.
Oh, thank you.
So empathy and compassion, right? How do you, it sounds like that approach for you helps in employees feeling that it's safe to be fully transparent with you in regards to managing I'm going to call it chaos that it seems like we're all managing at home. And how do you, do you continue to enforce the flexibility to the entire team, or do you do it on a one-to-one? Like, how do you continuously reinforce your message?
So I think that being in tune with your employees, right, and being in touch with them, I can kind of tell who's struggling, right? So I can kind of tell who's in this chaotic mode, like, oh my God, I have so many meetings and, I have my young kids here. So we've done it generally as a group, but we've also honed in on certain employees to just tell them, take a pause, right? Let's reset. We know you have a lot going on. So we do have a meeting that we need to schedule. What's going to work for you? Because the good thing about this pandemic, if there's anything good about it, is that we're all in the same boat.
Right.
So when we have a meeting with one of our insureds to discuss a claim, and the adjuster who's handling the claim is having childcare issues, we feel good about calling the healthcare provider and going, we're going to have to reschedule this for a different time because we're having some scheduling issues. And everyone has been, especially in the healthcare industry, they have been so incredibly accommodating that I think when the staff feels that, it kind of empowers them, and it says, okay, they've made a commitment to me, so I'm going to give them some time at night. If I get a call at 7:00 at night that she wants me to jump in on, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Right? So it's kind of a give and take, which is a really nice part.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. And Maritza says flexibility, empathy always helps, of course, of course. So, for those watching who weren't with us at the top of the hour, this is our second Throwback, a Thursday lunchtime conversation. Madi was with us back in April when this little journey started. So, based on, we're over 40 lunchtime conversations, and I know that you have been an avid watcher, because every Tuesday and Thursday when I see you pop in, it's like, yes, my tribe is here, along with Adair, Connie, Bess, and a few others. So based on, all the conversations that you've heard to date, what have been, the key points that you've enjoyed the most? Is it, people telling their story? Is it the career insights? Just curious to see, what your perception has been over the last few months.
So first of all, I tune into these lunch conversations because I am in complete awe of how many people how many smart women and every week it's just like I stare at the screen, right? Because I'm so captivated by them. But I think one of the things that I love the most about these lunchtime conversations as a leader are career insights, right? Because to hear other women in these type of positions give career insights, I've picked up a couple of nuggets here and there that, I'm like, wow, that is really good.
Yeah.
So, and I have to tell you, to think back of when you started this to where your platform is today, I'm in complete awe. I think it is fantastic. And I think this is, many people say, I want to pay it forward, but it's all kind of talk. You are truly paying it forward, especially during this time when I think we as women really need to kind of, hear one another and help one another and be a resource to one another. Mm-hmm. And this platform lends itself to that.
Yeah. No, well, thank you for that. And I think that it has been amazing that, we have been able to have so many conversations and learn from one another and continue to learn and inspire. And Connie says, yes, we have so much experience, but we can still learn so much from one another. And that's true, Connie.
Absolutely. Absolutely,
Connie. And I want to also make sure, sorry, because I didn't mention her before, but Latasha is also a huge supporter. So she's part of the Tuesday, Thursday tribe as well.
Hello.
So, Madi, based on knowing that you love the career insights of the series, what would be your 3 career insights that you would share with those watching today?
So I think the first one, and I tell this to everyone that I have a conversation with that's starting out in my industry, as much as you're loyal to a company, you have to be loyal to yourself. Yeah. Right? So always be loyal to yourself no matter what. My second career insight would be, this is your story to write. Never hand over the pen. And I love that because I think, as you start out in your career, and you start to develop a path, some companies will try to veer you off that path because it works for them. Mm. Not necessarily because it's good for you.
Right.
So that's when I say, okay, you've given over your pen. Don't give over your pen.
Got it.
And then the third insight that I have is, for me personally, is make family your legacy. I've been able to manage. I know that you hear this a lot, right? Manage work, family life. But I truly was able to do that throughout my career. And today, I have absolutely no regrets. For all those young people starting, all these young women and men starting out their careers, raising families, dedicate that time to them, because that's going to be your legacy.
Yeah, that's great. And bonus question today is, what is your superpower?
What's my superpower? You know what? I think kindness is my superpower.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It's my superpower, but I have to learn how to be kinder to myself.
Interesting.
I'm kind to everyone else, but I'm less kind to myself. So 2020 has taught me that I have to be kinder to myself.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Marty, thank you so much for your time today. This has been amazing. Thank you everyone for watching. And
thank you.
Yeah, for the next couple Thursdays, this is going to be, Throwback Thursday. So you'll see the first folks that joined us and who helped us kick this off. So Marty, thank you again. Everyone, thank you for watching, and we'll see everyone here next Tuesday at 12.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for coming on. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.